Hello and welcome to the Outdoorsy Educator podcast, where stories become lessons and every journey has something to teach us. Every week I sit down with people from all walks of life to hear their adventures, explore their experiences, and uncover the insights that have shaped them along the way. Whether it's from the outdoors, the classroom, or any other path, each conversation offers a fresh perspective on learning, growth, and what it means to truly connect with the world and the people around us. And on this week's episode of the Outdoorsy Educator podcast, we have Amy Rose. Amy, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, doing very well. I really appreciate you making the time for me today and for our listeners. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
I guess I don't know how to answer that
Yeah,
question.
it's
That was
difficult to put you
so
on the
broad.
spot.
That's such a broad question.
Yes.
Um, I guess in terms of this, I am somebody who decided to uproot my whole life and move into a cabin in the forest to try and heal a brain injury, and it's been a very interesting adventure.
Yeah, and that's how we connected. I found you on Instagram, and I found your story very inspiring in a big sense, but then also in a small sense, which we'll get into. Because the things that you do day to day are things that we can all do if we want to live a slightly different lifestyle. Why don't you
Yes.
take us back a bit? Because I certainly don't want to tell your story for you. How could I? But I know you had a different life before the brain injury that you mentioned.
Yes, it was very different, but it didn't really start out that way because where I'm
Okay.
living now, is where I grew up.
Ah,
So my parents are, well, I guess my mom is still out there. She lives kind of nearby. That's where I went to high school. And so it was a very isolated life as a teenager.
right.
Kind of growing up in the woods, but I always had a wood stove and everything like that. My mom moved me there as a teenager, and we just had raw land on the lake. So we ended up getting a sawmill and actually milling the trees off the property to build the house,
Wow.
and lived in a converted garage with an outhouse while we did that.
Right.
So it's not really anything new. But then being a bored teenager, I wanted to experience more of the world and the city life and do all of the things that I thought I was supposed to be doing.
Of course.
uh, so I ended up moving to a few different places, and I ended up in northern Alberta in the oil sands.
Right.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So, yeah. So there's kind of a big city up there, and it's about 40 minutes south of just these massive oil mines. So I lived in that city for 5 years and I rented and sold heavy equipment to oil companies.
As you do. Who doesn't, right? That's
Right.
yeah.
And I thought, like, okay, this is what I should be doing with my life. This is deemed as success. I was driving super nice cars and had a membership to the spa and was addicted to Starbucks.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
miraculously that probably didn't make you truly happy, is what I'm guessing.
No, it really didn't. It was kind of just this endless chasing
Hmm.
for something external. So everything was external, where all of the validation I got and all of my sense of self-worth I put onto these things. And so that gives you kind of this massive sense of anxiety doing that because you have to keep it maintained. So even if you hate your job and you don't like what you're
Hmm.
doing and everything else, you're like, well, all of my worth and everything in my life is tied to this thing that gives me this status or whatever it is. And it's this like empty pit.
Right. Yeah, and
Oh,
I'm guessing it's never like you've alluded to this. It's never enough. You never go,
no.
right, I've made it. There's no making it because there's always another level. There's always
Yeah.
another thing to be sold. And
Yeah.
yes.
You're happy for about 5 minutes and just like admiring this nice car in the driveway. You're like, okay, I made it. I'm good. And
Hmm.
then that's maybe a couple of months. You're like, well, I could just work more overtime and I could get something even nicer and sacrifice more of my time.
Right.
and you're just chasing forever and ever and ever. And you're never satisfied.
Yeah, because no car's ever going to maintain that level of happiness or house or anything like that. I find it's,
No.
yeah, yeah, it's an endless, endless wheel of, as you said, having to work more and more and more. How
Yeah.
do the fascinating part of your story is how you left that. I'd love you to tell us your story, how you sort of transitioned away from that life.
So I don't know exactly when it happened or if it was a slow progression, but I started wanting to revert back to the life that I had as a teenager. And I think it was the exposure to where I was at and slowly understanding what was going on and what was happening to the planet and what was happening, watching myself and everyone around me just chasing money and all of going against our own morals, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and just existing. And like, I would even say it for myself, I was just existing in this surface level massive ego.
Right.
And there was no depth to anything. Um, so I started wanting something different. And slowly, I don't know what happened. I started like turning into this hippie while living in the oil field.
There can't be too
I can't,
many hippies, I'm guessing, in the oil field.
and I can't even really pinpoint, but all of a sudden I was like searching out kind of spiritual practitioners and doing Reiki. And then all of a sudden I had this room in my house where I was doing yoga and it was full of plants. And I was trying to like grow lemons in my bedroom. And
Did you still have
just,
the really nice car at this point? Because the yin and
yes.
yang of that, yeah, I think that's kind of
Oh yeah.
fascinating. Yeah, yeah.
So I started leaning this way, and then I'm like, I don't want to buy plastic stuff anymore. So then everything in my house started transitioning to like anti-plastic, and everything needs to be reusable, and everything needs to be health conscious. And all of a sudden, there's glass ketchup bottles that like my ex-husband hated. This whole time, he's like, "What is happening?" And I just felt this pull to go back home, and it was relentless. Like I don't understand it. Sometimes I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with just this pull to get in my car and drive back to the mountains.
Hmm.
And it was so strong. And I just kept ignoring it, but it just got louder and louder and louder. So I was trying to find ways that I could do it. And I thought maybe I'll buy a piece of land, just put an RV on it so I have somewhere to go. And it just kept perpetuating, and I didn't understand why. And I was telling everyone, like, I'm just going to move back to the forest and I'm going to live this happy little life and grow my own food and probably have chickens. And they're like, she's gone insane.
Right.
Um, so it was kind of bizarre how it all played out because that started happening. And I was so desperately trying to find this way back home. I was also trying to, I guess, get away from my marriage at the time.
Hmm.
Um, I was unfortunately in a pretty violent and scary marriage.
Hmm.
Um, So I think that was part of my escape plan. But what's really interesting is about 2 days before my accident happened, I was having a lot of issues at work. For some reason, my performance wasn't doing well, probably because I didn't want to be there.
Right.
And I had a phone call with my brother where he was saying, like, just come back, like, just move back. And I said, well, I can't. I have to pay for my Audi. I have to make my Audi payments was
Right.
my thing. And I was working 7 days on, 7 days off. I was able to go on vacation all the time. I was able to justify it, but I did not want to be there. And then what happened is I was in an accident where I was making a left-hand turn and I got completely demolished by a very large truck.
Yikes. Goodness me.
Yeah. So that took away all of the things that I didn't want anymore, where all of a sudden I couldn't do my job and didn't have Audi payments anymore.
Right. Those went away.
And everything went away. So all of a sudden it was just this hard reset and my slate was wiped clean. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there going, okay, do I take this opportunity? Like, do I go? And I ended up going and staying with my mom for a while. I was recovering because I had my hands in like two different casts. I was
Wow.
like brain damaged at this point without really knowing it. I just knew
Hmm.
something was off. So I went to stay with her so she could kind of take care of me for a while. And while I was there, I just got this feeling to join the local Facebook group for that town. And as soon as I did, someone posted this little house for rent. And it was in my price range. It had a greenhouse, it had a garden, it had glacier views, it had fruit trees, and
What more could you
everything
want?
else. And I thought, okay, I'm just gonna go look at it.
Right.
Um, so I did, and I interviewed, and they called me 2 days later, and they said out of 19 people, we're picking you.
That's fair. The way you say it reminds me of when people go to the animal shelter just to look. Like they already know in their heart, you know
You
what's going
know,
to happen. Yeah.
like I know what's happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I made mountains move to make that happen on my own, which was terrifying because it was okay. I'm leaving everything that I know.
Hmm.
I'm escaping this marriage and I'm going out completely on my own on disability with a brain injury, but I'm going home.
Yeah.
But now
Getting
I
to go
found the
home.
way to do it.
Right. And the way found you almost.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, no, I
Yes.
did not intentionally turn in front of a truck.
Right. I'm glad to. And how long ago was that? When did that happen?
That was in February of 2019.
Right. So it's
So it was
I,
quite a while ago.
quite a while. I was just thinking, and I hope this isn't inappropriate to ask. How do you view the accident now? Like, obviously, it's terrible in so many ways, but do you see that maybe it was almost course correcting, or
Yeah,
there's some goodness that came out of it? How would you view what happened to you on that day?
I would 100% view it as either my own manifestation or some kind of divine intervention or both.
Right.
Because I say this all the time. I said the accident saved my life.
Right. That's it. The way you were talking that was coming through. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask how you felt because, of course, most people, including myself, would think how terrible, how tragic, and of course, there was you get hurt and that's not good.
Mhm.
But it does sound like there was so many wonderful things that came out of this.
Oh, 100%. It put me on the exact path that I was hoping to be on, which it came at a cost, obviously.
Right.
Um, so a lot of my time now is, I guess, just working with the cost that came with it, which is challenging, but also rewarding, which is strange to say.
Right. I imagine that's a good metaphor for the way you live your life on the land as well. Very little,
Mhm.
I imagine, is easy, but I also
Nothing
imagine
about it is easy.
nothing is easy, yet very
So,
rewarding, I would imagine.
yes.
Yes. Um, do you think when you talk about the Audi and and that's just kind of a representation of your life, I'm saying in my head and what you're
Mhm.
working towards. Do you think the modern society has really lost its connection to nature? And how do we get it back?
I'd say 100% yes. Um, I don't know necessarily how to get it back. It's something that I've been trying to, I guess, subliminally do through my posts because
Right?
I don't want to tell anybody how they should be living their life or that
Of
everybody
course.
should be living the way that I'm living. But it can at least show people that there is still that option. And I think the biggest thing that I come up against is people are now becoming afraid of nature, which is bizarre.
Interesting. What's brought you to say that? That's a really interesting thing to say.
Right? A
Yes.
lot of the messages I get in a lot of the comments because there's always, aren't you afraid of bears? Aren't you afraid of animals? Lately, it's been ticks because I'm just out in the woods all the time. And the fact that I do have to sterilize my drinking water, I'm out hunting in the bush. And in their minds, it's like all of this will cause you harm.
Isn't it funny?
So,
Isn't the human mind interesting? Because, of course, if you flip it and you said to somebody living in the woods, hey, we've got this great idea. We're going to sit you in a metal box with wheels and send you at 70 miles an hour down some concrete. Well, oh, and there's lots of other people. but as long as they look at the lights, it's okay. That doesn't
Yeah.
seem scary, right?
So there's so many scary things in cities. I'm in the city right now. I'm on the outskirts of it. And
Right.
just going anywhere is terrifying.
Right. It's funny how quickly we shift. I've
Mhm.
interviewed many long distance hikers, and it's funny how quickly they adapt to being in the woods and then struggle to adapt when they go into town. Even just looking to cross a road, they can feel this surge of stress that they hadn't felt in
Mhm.
weeks.
Right? And everybody is always on edge here, I find.
Hmm.
And like making sure, like, is my car door locked? Is the house locked? Can I go for a jog down this road? Like,
Right?
is this okay? Because there seems to be a lot more threatening things here, but that's just my opinion because
Yeah.
I'm used to just being in the trees with the bears.
Right. It doesn't sound so scary when you say it like that. Um, So, as you said, everyone is different, and you're certainly not trying to tell anyone how to live their lives. But if
Mhm.
somebody came to you and said, "Look, Amy, I would love to reconnect with nature. You know, I live in suburbia. I have a 9 to 5. I have the mortgage, and what might be a good starting point for somebody who just wants to course correct a little bit and try and get back to nature?"
I would say find one of the walking trails and pretty parks where you live because I'm realizing that those do exist in the city still.
Hmm.
And go for walks every day without your phone.
I like that a lot. I have to. I just went for a walk before we sat down and talked. As I'm very fortunate. I have two lovely parks with huge trees and things right by my house, and I have to be conscious not to pick up my phone or take it out of my pocket. Oh, just see if that email
Yeah.
came through. And it is a sort of wake up call. You have to be conscious of it now, which is, I'd say it's embarrassing. We all do it, the vast majority of people are just so connected all the time. It has to be a conscious choice to disconnect.
Yes. Well, I mean, they make it so that it's addictive.
Right.
Like I'm addicted to notifications. I can't have them there. They have to be cleared. I'm always like, is there a new one? It's like
Right.
it's programmed to mess with your dopamine.
Yeah, I mean, there's people paid
So
a lot of money to make sure that we get that dopamine fix and constantly crave it.
yeah.
It's yeah, other than my texts, I have all my notifications off for that reason
Mhm.
because I know every time it dinged, I would want to look and see what it is.
Right?
So,
Like a
yeah,
little thought machine. It makes all these like pretty noises and colors and sounds.
right. I don't know if you ever saw the TV show Lost, but it reminds me of some of the experiments they did on the island there. But I mean, that show's, I don't know, 15 years ago now. But it's we've almost become that in a lot of ways, like
Mhm.
just addicted to that little dopamine hit all
Yep.
the time.
So yeah, I'd say
Yeah,
like people give themselves some grace because if you're addicted to your phone, it's programmed that way, but you can break away from it if you want
right.
to.
It can be done.
Yes.
Um, what misconceptions, if any, do people have about you now that you're living a very different life than what you are?
Um, I don't know.
Sorry, when I was just thinking about the conversation we were going to have, I was wondering if people might think, "Oh, she can't enjoy that," or
Hmm.
or you didn't really want. I don't know. I was just thinking that when you have such a lifestyle shift, people might get the
Yeah.
wrong idea or a misconception.
I mean, and I don't think all of their misconceptions would be entirely wrong because there's the two
Right?
sides to everything where, sometimes I find it to be really peaceful, but on the flip side, that can be really lonely. Uh, Sometimes
Right.
I'm actually really sad about my circumstances and there's a lot of grief around it and it's a struggle sometimes and sometimes I do wish that it was easier and that I could just turn up a thermostat and go to a grocery store.
Right.
So it's I exist kind of in both places. So
Yeah, I think I'm very much guilty of this. So, I mean, I've done, multi-day hikes and all that's where I'm sleeping in the tent overnight in bear country. So I've gotten a little glimpse of it. But I'm one of those people, I'm sitting on my couch going, "Oh, I could do it. I could do it." because I'm sitting on my couch in my air conditioning in my brick home, it's very easy to think that. I think
Mhm.
I think we forget how many creature comforts we all have.
Yes, and once they're removed, it's really interesting because even if I feel like crap and I don't want to get up, well, my bathroom, first of all, is outside of the building.
Right?
So it's 20 feet from the building, and if it's minus 20 outside, I need to shovel 4 feet of snow to get there. And then
Right.
on my way back, I need to chop wood and make a fire when
Right.
I get inside. And there's no avoiding it.
Right. In order to survive, you have to do these things. You can't just,
Yeah.
yeah, flip a switch and your house heats up.
No, and there's nobody there helping me.
Right. Well,
So
kind of on that note, what are you still learning about yourself? I was assuming that living out in the mountains, in the forest, or in the woods, whatever word we want to use, you're constantly learning. So I was trying to think of something that you have recently learned, either physical, how to do something, or something about yourself.
my gosh, both all the time. I
Right?
think I think the coolest thing that I've learned about myself is that I'm capable of more than I thought I was.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and that covers like all bases because like admittedly I was somebody who I think was almost like codependent in relationships and was always needing a partner, always needing somebody there and felt that I needed that in order to be okay. And then I didn't have that anymore. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna, I have to figure out myself. And so that was an important component was building my relationship with me, but then also just creating community and a lot of deep friendships and having everything kind of spread out, if that makes any sense. Um, and then the other thing was, especially with the brain injury, I was constantly told everything I can't do. And that
Right.
includes me telling myself things I couldn't do. And initially, I had, I think, higher levels of fear and anxiety, which is something that the brain injury can do. So there was a few years where I did nothing. I was
Right.
afraid of everything. I was like borderline agoraphobic. Just, I didn't want to move. And then I realized over the past few years through doing these things that you actually can recondition your brain, your nervous system, yourself. You can train your mind, you can train your body. It's entirely possible to actually be able to do these things.
Right. I think as humans, sometimes we don't give ourselves almost enough credit to be able to do things like that.
Mhm.
It's hard work, takes a lot of
Yes,
work, but it can
it's
be
not
done.
fun.
Right.
No, I started calling it intentional suffering.
I quite like that. I've never thought of intentional suffering,
It's
especially
intentional suffering.
for a greater good. I love
Yes,
that.
because the more you put yourself through, the more you can handle. But it's also, don't put yourself over the limit too far
Right.
because then you're setting yourself back. So a lot of my time has been spent going, okay, where are my limits? What are they? Like what
Right.
can I actually do? And then finding that limit and going, okay, how can I modify?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is my limit, but that doesn't necessarily mean the end of the road.
No.
You can pivot, you can do something else.
Yeah.
That's just fascinating. Um, I feel like I could talk to you for hours. I have three final questions as we come around the corner here to the home stretch of the interview. Um, success. I mean, that's kind of been most of this interview is how I think your view of success has changed.
Mhm.
How would you define it now in your current, your current place where you are?
I need to find success.
How do you feel perhaps you've had a successful day, now as opposed to 5 or 10 years ago?
I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. We can move on. We can think about it, and maybe if we'll. I'll type it in the show notes afterwards because
Okay.
as I did say, I didn't or forewarn you about any questions.
No, and I like
Um,
to give so much context to questions.
yeah, no, I'm all for it. Well,
Okay.
I'm going to hit you with two more. The first one is, what book would you say has been one of the most impactful on your life?
I think the one that sent me on my path, and I had this conversation with someone the other day, was actually the Four Agreements.
Oh, that rings a bell. Can you tell me a little about it? Because I know that
Um,
name.
that it's hard to explain it in like the full
Okay.
context, but I think I attribute it to almost that feeling where I made the switch in my life and
Okay.
realized where I was at and what I was doing. Because the book starts out of how we've all been conditioned from childhood. And all of the thoughts and ideas and everything that we have come from our parents or come from other people. And so it's like, what happens when you step outside of that? Like, who are you really? What is your dream? Who are you? What are you doing? And it kind of pulled back the veil on what I knew reality to be. So it's kind of like those things where it's like, now I'm woke. It woke me up.
Right. Right.
It was the awakening for that. And then it has some really good principles on how to, I guess, live your life a little bit differently. So that was
I
that was my
love that.
that was my starter. That one pulled back the veil. And then I went, wait, what else is there? And it just started this whole trajectory.
I love it. The Four Agreements. I will look that
Mhm.
up when we finish here. My final one of these three questions is I'm going to sort of paint the picture for you. It's the summertime in the mountains where you are, and if you could choose somebody to come and live with you in the mountains, they bring their own tent, they're set up on your land, and they could stay a while and just live alongside you, chop the wood, do what needs to be done, and you get to pick their brain, talk to them, learn from them. And it could be anyone, dead,
Mhm.
alive, famous, somebody you know, anybody who's ever existed. Who would you like to spend some time chopping wood and doing all the chores around your cabin with?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. There'd be so many people.
Right? And again, I've put you on the spot here, so it's not a problem. I've had some people who've, a parent who's passed away or a close friend that they
Mhm.
miss, all the way to David Attenborough, Jane Goodall, Gandhi. People have gone all over the gamut with this.
You know what? Now that you said that, I guess this will be like a more vulnerable thing because it just triggered it. But I think I would bring my dad out there. And he passed away in 2021. But he was a lot of the reason why I am the way that I am. Like he was
Right.
an avid bow hunter, fisher, took me camping as a kid, kind of all of those things. A lot of the things about me came from him, but he was, I guess, sick his whole life for the majority of it. He died from alcoholism.
Right.
So in the end, he really wanted to come out and spend time with me and go hunting with me, but never got to. So I think it would be cool to have him out there and give him that opportunity and put him back in the wild.
That's beautiful. A lovely way to end. And if people would like to talk to you, ask you questions, visit your online store. We should mention that too. Where can people find you?
They can find me on my Instagram, which is the Hillbilly Witch. I also have thehillbillywitch.com, which is where I sell my tallow skincare.
Fantastic. Well, Amy Rose, I cannot thank you enough for this time we've spent together today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again to this week's guest, and I hope today's episode was as enjoyable for you as it was for me, and perhaps even inspired your next adventure. If you did enjoy the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or follow us wherever you get your podcasts. You can find more information at theoutdoorseyeducator.com or follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. Until next time, thank you so much for listening to the Outdoorsy Educator Podcast.